Downsizing, the one that we don't want to talk about. It's not what you think. Going from a big house to a condo is actually not the play, and I'm gonna break everything down for you. My name is Nick Crozier with Crozier Realty. I run a real estate team out of the GTA West, Etobicoke, Mississauga. We help a lot of people upsize, but also we specialize in downsizing for a lot of our clients. Over the last couple of years, this has been a big concern for a lot of our downsizers and common questions and things that have come up when people are kind of in that transitional stage of what do I do, where do I go? So I'm gonna go over the three main things to think about before you decide if you wanna downsize and get out of that big home. So the first one, of course, is gonna be where are we going, right? What's that move gonna look like? You're in a 2,000, you're in a 2,500, 3,000, even 2,000 square foot home, 4 bed, 4 bath, the kids are gone, empty nesters, as we say. So what do, right? We love the neighborhood and area. We don't want to leave it, but we want to get something smaller. So it's actually not going to be a condo. And what's actually going to happen right now is you got to look at yourself over the next 5 to 10 years. I would go over a 10-year horizon. And what you're actually looking at is if you have a little bit of that mortgage left over, maybe a 200, 150, 100, how do we get rid of that? Plus put you into something smaller, but this is not going to be your last move. So it's very rare that we see someone go from a 2,500 plus house right to a condo. Very rare. Normally what we're seeing right now in today's world of downsizing, we call it right sizing. So when you're right sizing, you're just choosing the right thing to fit your lifestyle. So a lot of what we're finding right now for our bigger clients here that are in the big 2,500 square foot plus, a condo is only gonna be 1,000, 1,500 square feet max. It's very hard to go from big to small. So what we always start with is bungalows, side split, back splits. This is where we're finding the sweet spot right now, where in that range in Mississauga, you're probably looking around 1.1 to 1.2 for a nice sweet spot of what you can get into if you're selling that 1.4, 1.5 plus home. So that's kind of gonna be your first move. That's the first succession plan to get you into that next house. And what that's gonna do is gonna eliminate some of the furniture we don't have, the old stuff, we're gonna get clutter down, and we're gonna be into that next house. Why it's gonna be a house, or it might be a townhouse, maybe a semi-detached. Why I like the bungalow, the side split, the back split, there's less stairs. So of course the bungalow, you're gonna all be on one floor. Still got your basement storage in there, and a lot of bungalows are actually misleading. So if you got 1,500 square feet upstairs, the nice thing with a bungalow is a big square below. So you have pretty much another 1,500 square feet. So if you're used to living in 2,000 above, 900,000 in the basement, that bungalow is gonna feel very similar, and you're not gonna feel like you're fully downsizing, you're right sizing. So again, sometimes it might be, hey, we wanna go back to the cottage, we're going to Florida, maybe 6 months here, 6 months there. All of these things right now, when you're thinking about your lifestyle, where do you want the lifestyle to be? How do you want that to look like? And build the rest of your housing and everything else around the lifestyle. Don't build it around the house. So that's number one. Now, number two, pricing, housing pricing right now. If you're thinking, or you were sitting there 2 years ago, 3 years ago, saying to yourself, hey, you know what? I wanna sell my home. I don't know what I'm going, but I'm just gonna wait for the market to recover. You have to think to yourself, what does the next 5 years look like, right? If you're waiting on 2022 pricing, you're most likely looking at about 2030 to 2033 as a recovery time to maybe get back to those prices. Why we're looking at that, if you think about it, if you bought your house 20, 30 years ago, would have bought it in the 90s, early 2000s, our market today and what has happened in 2022 is very replicable of what happened in the early 90s. And it took till about 2001, 2002 for us to actually come back, where if you bought in the early 90s to 2002, your prices are actually then similar. So you're not taking any losses. So keep that in mind. What's the timeline of your horizon? Because if your house is paid off right now, you've been losing money every single year it goes down. And if that nest egg is where you have all your money and all your equity is built up in this home, think about that as well, right? Because you're able to sell the home, and if you're able to pay off that mortgage, you're no longer paying your monthly fees. So you have to think about that as well. There's no more cash going out of your pocket, right? So that's cleared. And that's a big thing what we're doing with a lot of our downsizers. It's mainly getting them out of the mortgage if it's 100, 150, 200,000 left. And let's get you into another home where you can clear that, live mortgage free, and then you're just worried about taxes and your utilities and your bills. And then you're probably gonna see another step downward, whether it be to a small townhouse or a semi, or that's when you make the decision to go to the condo. And when you go over the condo, we're gonna do a whole video on downsizing into condos and what to expect, what to look for, and how to know it. But again, with the condos, what you're averaging out is, okay, in that 10-year horizon, What are my monthly costs gonna look like? What's my pension look like? What is my CPP? What income am I bringing in that's my fix that I know about? And what is it gonna cost me to live? And what's the room in between? So those are kind of the numbers you wanna be thinking about, and really think about, okay, if we're thinking 2 years from now, it may be advantageous to start that process now, because if the market goes down another 4 or 5%, your $1 million home, that's 50 grand. Your $1.5 million home, that's 75 grand. It's a lot of money, right? And don't pressure yourself into having to buy something new, right? We've said this with a couple of our downsizes. We've had it happen where we sold, about 2 years ago, we sold a house and they actually went and rented for a year, rented a condo, hated it, ended up buying them a bungalow afterwards. So don't think of it as wasting money, because again, you're taking $1.2 million, $1.3 million, you can put that into a basic fund, a mutual fund, a GIC, and still earn your money back. So think about that. $1 million, even at like a 3%, 4% GIC that you invest in, it's still gonna bring you 30 grand. If it costs you $2,500, $3,000 a month to rent, there's your money offset, but it gave you a year to figure out what you wanted to do. So keep that in mind. You don't have to sell and buy right away. You can get a little buffer in there to see, hey, where do we wanna go? We took our money out, now we're gonna play with it a little bit differently. You might diversify, you might put in some different assets and some income for you, but don't feel pressured that you have to go buy another home. And the third thing you have to look out for right now is the actual home itself. How's the upkeep? Do we need to do any touch-ups, renovations? Do we need to declutter? Are the kids' stuff all in the basement, in the garage? What's going on? How long ago did we reno the house? Did we reno it 10, 15 years ago? Because we gotta think to ourselves now, if I have a 10-year-old reno right now, but I'm thinking 5 years from now, 3 years from now, even 10 years from now, well, that reno is now gonna be a 20-year-old reno, a 15-year-old reno. All the appliances are now 15 years old. What's gonna start breaking? What's gonna start going? These are just little things to think about, right? That carpet that's been in the house for 40 years, again, something else to think about. Do we do an update? Do we not? What is the house and what we're gonna do? And every single house is so different because again, it goes into your price point, right? Subbing out some carpet to put in cheap laminate or vinyl isn't always gonna even give you a return depending on your home. Sometimes you have to go with the upgrade, sometimes it's not worth it. So this is kind of what we do. And I always say, if you're thinking about downsizing, and this is kind of the biggest mistake that most people do, is they think about it too late. So what we've seen for most of our successful downsizers, we actually start these conversations and process within 2 to 3 years prior to them actually selling their home. We're going over market analysis, where we are today, what we see going on in the next 1 to 3 years. We can't predict everything, but we have a guesstimate amount of where we're looking at, what our numbers are looking at. And what we do is we come up with a process and a plan over the next 1 to 3 years of what that would look like. Our biggest thing we find is the decluttering, the getting rid of furniture and moving things around. That's gonna be the hardest and the most challenging, and that's gonna take the longest because of course, we got 30 years of stuff we gotta go through. So again, we have where are we going? What is that next move gonna look like? Is it a bungalow, a side split, a townhouse, a semi? Is it in the same neighborhood and area? And if it is, we're gonna go start exploring those properties, what they look like, what they touch and feel like. Bungalow, side split, back split would be the 3 that I would target on. And then number 2, where the price is going, what's the trajectory? Again, if you're purchasing another home, you will ride the market back up. It's just gonna be on a different home. So keep that in mind. And then the last one is, again, the house itself. Can we upkeep it? Are we letting things starting to go? Is it getting too hard to do the grounds, the grass, inside? Is it too much, too big? Do we need the cleaners? Can we afford the cleaners? These are all little things that's gonna affect us, because if the roof starts leaking, things start going on the house, the value is gonna start going down. So keep that in mind. These are 3 basic things that I just wanna get you thinking about first. Send me an email if you're thinking of downsizing. We call it right sizing. Just put subject line right sizing. We'll set up a phone call, start the introduction with you, and just go over a succession plan of what that's gonna look like over the next year, 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, whatever that might be. Thanks for watching. Smack subscribe below if you like this video. Share it with a friend. We'd love to just give out that information to anyone looking and needs any help in real estate.